This is CBC Vancouver News.
Another deadly avalanche in BC, this time near Golden. The season has now claimed 9 lives.
I hope that it encourages other people to bring their stories forward.
A former North Vancouver teacher is charged with numerous sex crimes against students.
It's not the complete answer, but it certainly gives us a great deal of hope.
And the province steps up with more money for struggling festivals, fairs, and events in BC. Good evening, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. We begin in southeastern BC tonight, where an avalanche has claimed 2 more lives. Avalanche Canada says 5 snowboarders and 1 skier were caught in a massive slide outside a ski boundary area near Golden today. 3 people were buried. 2 of them did not survive. The agency says the group did trigger the slide. Another set of snowboarders was below them, but they were not hurt. Avalanche Canada says the slide was 115 meters wide and nearly a kilometer long. It's the latest deadly avalanche in BC this season. 9 people have now been killed. Forecasters have warned the snowpack is unstable, comparing it to one of the deadliest seasons 20 years ago. A former teacher in North Vancouver is now charged with numerous sex crimes, accused of assaulting students. And a man who claims to be one of the victims hopes others will now come forward. A warning, this story does contain disturbing details. North Vancouver RCMP says 83-year-old Brian Moore has been charged with 12 counts of sexual offenses, including assault and sexual touching of a person under 14. He taught at Upper Lynn Valley Elementary between 1970 and 1982. The RCMP says Moore is alleged to have committed one of those offenses in 2007 after his tenure as a teacher. Last summer, police announced they had arrested a former teacher for indecent assault against students in the 70s and 80s and asked potential victims to contact them. They did.
We understand that this news may be upsetting for some members of the community and especially for the victims. We would like to thank those that came forward to provide statements. Without their courage, we would not be in the position that we are in today.
Last August, meanwhile, Dennis Cooper, a former student of Moore's, filed a civil claim alleging Moore had groomed and sexually assaulted him and others over the course of several field trips throughout their grade 6 year. Now, none of the criminal nor civil allegations have been proven in court. Cooper, who is now 56, says it's been a long wait.
For many of the guys, they've carried this secret with them for most of their adult lives. And as difficult as it was for them to bring their stories forward, it's even more difficult to see almost nothing done about it. So this is a very important day.
Cooper says he hopes this will encourage other people to share their stories, as difficult as that can be. More than 100 nurses at a Lower Mainland hospital are calling for better working conditions. They rallied today outside the Eagle Ridge Hospital in Port Moody. They say the hospital has had a nearly $30 million renovation, but not nearly enough has been done to deal with a drastic nursing shortage. The nurses say the emergency room often runs at 115% over capacity, and nurses are without ER training are being forced to fill empty positions.
Health authorities and the government need to figure out a way to not only recruit nurses, but to keep the nurses that we have in the system. And currently the working conditions are so poor that nurses are leaving. We're losing new grads, we're losing nurses that are nearing retirement age that would happily work another 2 or 5 years that are saying we just can't do it. And we're also losing mid-career nurses. There's a general labor shortage out there. Nurses have lots of opportunities. We are highly skilled, educated professionals that are in demand around the globe. And BC needs to spend some time figuring out how they're going to keep the nurses they already have.
The nurses say the government does not appear to have a plan to hire its targeted 26,000 nurses by 2031, and they want to see more tangible solutions to attract staff. The Victoria Police Department is notifying people of a privacy breach after a police officer's notebook went missing. It happened in December, but the department says it only found out about it this month. They say the contents of that notebook have been copied and allegedly used in crimes around Saanich. It contains about 60 names and 50 addresses within Victoria, Esquimalt, Saanich, and the West Shore. The names were related to police action or were under investigation. They say there is no concern about additional criminal activity, but they have asked the Privacy Commissioner and the Office of the Police Complaint Commissioner to get involved. The BC Coroner Service is recommending a full inquest into the deaths of 3 Calgary railroad workers killed in a derailment in BC in 2019. Daniel Waldenberger-Bulmer, Andrew Dockrell, and Dylan Paradis died after the brakes on their train they were on failed near Field. Last year, the Transportation Safety Board released the findings of its 3-year investigation. It found that Canadian Pacific had previously filed reports on dangerous brake issues on Field Hill. A lawyer for 2 of the victims' families says an inquest would be historic. Former BC Liberal MLA John Rustad is jumping to a new party, the BC Conservatives.
I really believe that as in politics, MLAs and people running for office need to stand on principles. They need to be able to express their voice, supporting their riding. They shouldn't just be there parroting a party line, and which is what we've seen both from the BC Liberals and the NDP.
Rustad was first elected to the legislature as a member of the BC Liberal Party, but in August he was tossed from the Liberal caucus after an online post casting doubt on the science behind climate change.
He started changing his position on that and tweeting out things that were in denial of climate change's reality. I said to John, if you've changed your position, that's fine. You can have that. We can have that debate and discuss that in caucus, as we're always willing to do. But you're not going to be out there publicly doing that. And if you can't find the discipline to continue supporting the position we've always had as a party, you're not going to be part of this party. And when he hemmed and hawed and said he wasn't sure if he could live with that, I fired him from caucus.
Rustad has been sitting as an independent until now. The BC Conservatives haven't held a seat in the legislature since 1975. A longtime Metro Vancouver Music Festival will return to Deer Lake Park this summer. And for the first time ever, you can get into the Burnaby's Blues and Roots Festival for free.
Exposing people to this type of entertainment and these artists is really important, so that the city of Burnaby is in the financial position to be able to deliver events like this to our residents and visitors without any additional cost to taxpayers.
The hope is removing ticket fees for the festival will give more people the chance to take in local and global music acts. It's welcome news to the musicians, as scrapping admissions costs could mean more exposure for new artists, many of whom are struggling to recover from the pandemic. Organizers say the festival lineup will be announced in the spring. New money, meanwhile, is on its way to help other struggling festivals, fairs, and events here in BC. Several have had to cancel or scale back their plans drastically. As the CBC's Zara Premji explains, some organizers say this could be their lifeline.
The sound of silence interrupted. Weeks after the Vancouver Folk Music Festival warned it wouldn't be able to move forward, it seems the show could go on.
Maybe we can now put on an event for 2023. It's not the complete answer, but it certainly gives us a great deal of hope.
The province says it will be putting forward $30 million in one-time grants to eligible events that apply.
This support will help eligible events like sporting events, community celebrations, agricultural fairs, rodeos, exhibitions, and music festivals.
Last month, FolkFest said its 43-year event would be coming to a halt, citing rising costs and being crushed by post-pandemic bills as the culprits.
I'm flabbergasted in a way.
Organizers say they'll try everything in their power to revive the 2023 edition despite hurdles.
It's not confirmed, and we don't have a place. We don't even have one act booked. We don't even have an artistic, we have nothing. But we have a bit of time and we have commitment.
Other events organizers are also applauding the move. Squamish Consolation Festival organizers saying, "We were getting very close to the point of being resigned to having to hold off until 2024. It's coming at the very last minute for us. Optimistically, I feel like we can probably do something at this point." The temporary nature of the funds, though, means they could be back to trying to scrape by the following year.
We're hoping it's a bridge to a place where fairs, festival, and events have a plan that incorporates all of these new challenges that are before us.
The funding can cover as much as 20% of an event's total budget, up to a maximum of $250,000. Applications will be open from now until March 3rd, and events between April 1st of this year and December 31st of next year are eligible. Zara Premji, CBC News, Vancouver.
Tesla is being forced to recall nearly 380,000 vehicles in Canada and the U.S. over a software flaw that raises the risk of a crash. More than 20,000 cars in Canada are affected. American regulators say vehicles equipped with the full self-driving software failed to stop at stop signs and drove straight through intersections while in a lane meant for turning. It's the latest blow to Tesla's driver assist software. Are Vancouver's aspirations to be the greenest city in North America a thing of the past? Well, City Council had a number of climate-related topics on the agenda yesterday, as we shared with you. They did not unfold as they might have, though, under previous mayors like Gregor Robertson or Kennedy Stewart. Watching it all unfold, our municipal affairs reporter Justin McElroy. Justin, what happened here?
Yeah, there were a few things, one of which that we've talked about over the last couple of days. The 25-cent cup fee that the city put in that went in place at the beginning of last year has been controversial. There was a vote to try and get rid of it in the middle of last year. It went down to defeat 6-5, but there was an election in between then and now. It's a new ABC majority, and they put forward a motion calling to get rid of the fee, saying that there wasn't enough evidence that it was working. But I was struck by the words of the councillor that put forward the motion, Rebecca Bly, and how she contrasted what Vancouver is doing, being the only place in North America with this fee, and whether it was truly effective.
Vancouver, all on its own, in a massive country, is thinking that they're winning the climate war because they've got a 25-cent cup fee is insanity. It's actually insanity. So we have to really wheel this back in and recognize that we've supported a lot of policy around this table. This one does not make any sense.
Now, there was a time that Vancouver Council saying we're the only ones doing something on climate initiatives in North America, and going above what the provincial and federal government were doing is something that would probably pass in council. Under this one, not so much, slightly different priorities. And again, they just didn't see the evidence in their mind that it was working.
So, Justin, that's just one decision. Is Vancouver still a climate leader?
Well, it depends on what you look at. And another thing that happened at council yesterday was that they got a report back on what their climate initiatives have done to date. And take a look at this chart that they put forward, showing that Vancouver's greenhouse emissions have only gone down by 10% in the last 14 years. That's actually less by percentage than the city of Toronto. Staff said that there was a heck of a lot more that needed to be done in order to get to their target of 50% reduction by 2030. It's still unclear whether council will go towards all of the proposals that staff say would need to happen there, or they'll try something else. In addition, one thing that came to council yesterday was a report done by a volunteer committee, a climate action charter with more suggestions. Council decided rather to accept the report and all of the recommendations in it for staff, simply to table it, say thank you for doing that job, and we'll see what happens next. Certainly different priorities with this city council and a different way of looking at climate initiatives than under Gregor Robertson and Kennedy Stewart might have been the case.
Thank you, Justin. Canada is sending a team to race in the first ever women's regatta at the America's Cup. The sailing squad will be led by a Vancouver woman who is ranked second in the world. Jessica Chung has more.
The America's Cup match underway.
For the first time in more than a century, the America's Cup will include a women's regatta.
Isabella Berthold.
And Vancouver's very own Isabella Berthold will be leading the charge.
In October 2024, history will be made. The America's Cup is the pinnacle of the sport of sailing, and for the first time in its history, the women will compete for our very own trophy. This is a monumental step for women in sport, women in the sport of sailing, and women in general.
The 32-year-old who is ranked second in the world got her start sailing in English Bay. Now Berthold will lead a team of 4 at the event in Spain next year.
Growing up, I was often 1 or 2 girls on the junior race team here at Royal Van. There weren't that many women actively sailing, but I was very fortunate to have incredible female role models around me still, who sort of paved the way and said never take no for an answer and keep pushing forward.
The America's Cup has been a men's-only competition for 137 years. Now up to 12 women's teams will be competing for their own trophy. Hopes are high that more diversity in the sport will spark interest for the next generation.
The team was setting up for the long haul
It's way beyond. The first goal is Barcelona in 2024, but we're not setting it up just as a 2-year project. The aim is to get Canada back on the main stage and to stay there for the long term.
On the competition side, I want more girls coming up and saying, I can sail this boat better than you can. And for that, they need role models, they need people to look up to. And so, yeah, it means the world.
The rest of the team have yet to be chosen, but Isabella Berthold will be leading them in the competition. They will be heading to Barcelona, Spain in October of 2024. Jessica Chung, CBC News, Vancouver.
We're scared that some people might not have access to the products.
BC doctors are concerned about a shortage of abortion pills over the next few weeks. We'll tell you what's behind the supply issue right after this. And thank you for watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. Canada's women's soccer team lost their opening match of the She Believes Cup this afternoon. A few days ago, though, it wasn't even clear they would take the field, though plans for a strike were quashed by threatened legal action. As Lindsay Duncombe shows us, the team still found a way to make its point.
Canada's national women's team taking to the pitch in purple, a symbol of equality, their latest protest in an ongoing and increasingly ugly fight to be treated and paid the same as the men, a battle their American opponents know well.
They've also been in this fight as well, and we all know that at times it's bigger than when we step on the pitch.
We're with them 100%. We obviously know, exactly what they're going through, how difficult that is.
The World Cup champion Americans achieved equal pay after a lawsuit last year. The Canadian conflict has unique complications. Back in 2018, Canada Soccer contracted out broadcast deals and sponsorships to Canadian Soccer Business, a private company linked to a men's professional league.
In 2018, when we signed this deal, nobody else was coming to the party. We were the only company, and at that time we took an enormous risk.
The CEO says given the conflict, it's willing to reconsider the terms of that agreement.
We want them to get into a position where the only thing they're thinking about when they walk on the field is winning.
In the middle of the turmoil, there are reports Canada's head coach, who led the team to an Olympic championship, is entertaining other offers.
Post-gold medal, there's been regular opportunities put in front of me, but I think that the biggest thing is, I'm committed to this group.
Soccer watchers see the whole mess as part of a larger pattern of mismanagement.
There has been a long tail of disappointment with Canada Soccer over the last year plus. In some of their decisions and actions.
Canada Soccer didn't comment on the labor dispute today. Its press release all about the game, an attempt at soccer as usual when it's clearly anything but. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
Doctors in BC are worried about a shortage of abortion pills that's expected to hit Canada next week. That's from the country's only supplier. Marina von Stackelberg is looking at the consequences that could have on women, often in a time-sensitive situation.
So this is mifegamizole.
Also known as the abortion pill, doctors like Renee Hall can prescribe it up to 10 weeks into pregnancy. Further along, a surgical abortion is required.
There is that time limit that you have to take into consideration.
When the last shortage happened in December, Dr. Hall says some patients had to have a surgical abortion instead.
That was really unfortunate circumstance for those patients. They really wanted to get this done by medication. They did not want to end up in surgery.
This latest abortion pill shortage is expected to last 2 weeks. Line Pharma, the company that makes it, blames a short supply of the active ingredient used in the drug. That has led to manufacturing and delivery delays. Clinics across the country have stockpiled what doses they have.
We know that some pharmacies have a limited stock of mifegamizole available, but not a really high stock. So we're scared that some people might not have access to the products.
During the last shortage, some pharmacies in rural and remote areas ran out.
It expires pretty quickly, so most pharmacies keep like 1 or 2 boxes.
The abortion pill has greatly opened up access since it became available in 2017. Instead of having to travel to a clinic or hospital for a surgery, a family doctor can prescribe it, and it can be taken at home.
The scope of access is just so significantly diminished when you take medication abortion out of the picture.
Line Pharma supplies Canada with between 50 and 80,000 doses of the abortion pill every year. The company says the hormone used in the pill is still a niche product. Not many places manufacture it, making it difficult to source. Marina von Stackelberg, CBC News, Ottawa.
Next week marks 1 year since the war in Ukraine began. Today, Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister Mélanie Joly was in the Ukrainian capital to express continued support.
We've been a steadfast supporter. We're all in. And Canadians knows that this is the right thing to do.
She visited a demining center outside the capital where volunteers are being trained in an underappreciated task, mine clearing. Joly announced an extra $7 million to wrap up training and equipment to clear munitions and booby traps left over in recently liberated areas. Up to 30% of that country is contaminated by unexploded munitions. There's a live shot of the Georgia Viaduct. Still winter on the south coast, and we'll get more examples next week. Johanna's BC-wide forecast is next.
Doesn't it make you feel like you're in downtown New York, you know, moving this stuff? The Garment District, that's right. But in fact, we're in downtown Vancouver, setting up the CBC's Love Booth. How'd you ever come up with this idea of the Love Booth, Stan?
Oh, it just came to me in my sleep, Bob.
Really? Good.
That's right.
Okay, well listen, I'm sure it's gonna get some people.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, now all we have to do is wait for some customers. And I think they're going to come because, you know, lovely day, Friday, love is in the air. So here's our Love Booth, right here.
Okay, what have you had before? What have you had before? Good ones?
You were the very first customer.
Oh, great.
I love my mama, same as I love God.
Come on in. Stand by the booth. Give a message. I think they're shy today. I don't understand it, you know? I mean, you could trumpet it from the rooftops or something like that. Here you go. She's got a rose. She's got a rose. Come on in here. This is your day.
My mom's Thanks, guys.
I'm not sure, you know? Maybe because it's not really Valentine's Day, people's hearts just aren't bursting with love the way mine is at this very moment. Well, Stan, didn't work all that well so far. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Al in the booth. All right. And have the people come in. This is a love booth. You know, they have to come out. Sure. Okay. So Al, step in the booth. Okay. Did you do that? How's that? I think we're going to have more success this way now.
Yeah, this makes all the difference in the world.
That's right. It's a great idea, Stan. Yeah. This is the love booth.
Oh,
You
said
get to give us a Valentine's Day message. Just say it right into the camera.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, into the camera. Dear me.
Hi, I'd like to send my love to my mother and father in Victoria and my brother on Main Island. I love you.
Love you.
Yeah.
To my lovely wife, Lauren, I love you very much.
No, yeah. Even Gordon Wilson, even Gordon Wilson passes by. I can't.
You, Bob.
I can't believe that Gordon Wilson would pass us by like that.
Okay, I've got a poem.
A poem?
Yes.
Look into the camera and read it.
I shall recite. This is for Andy, whose lips taste like candy, whose fire red hair makes me want to declare that my love is endless and beyond compare.
Well, I think it's been a pretty good day overall, the first edition of the CBC Love Booth. And I just want to say, honey, I love you. I can't believe that Gordon Wilson would go by like that.
You can do it.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
On March 8th, celebrate International Women's Day with Gloria Makarenko at the West Coast Leafs Equality Breakfast. Get your tickets at westcoastleaf.org. And dance away the winter blues with Corleone at Pop Capella 3 on March 3rd and 4th. Backed by a band of Vancouver's best, the Corleone Ensemble will take on your favorite hits. Tickets at corleone.org.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Time for our BC-wide weather forecast with meteorologist Johanna Wagstaffe. And Joe, we're being reminded we are still officially, absolutely in winter time here in the South Coast.
Yeah, Dan, a little blast of, I won't say blast, a little taste of winter tonight for parts of the South Coast. We are seeing that snow fall for higher elevations of Metro Vancouver and for the island, and we have more Arctic air on the move. But for now, what we're really tracking is this sort of elongated area of low that's moving southeast across the province, bringing snow to the interior tonight. And yes, that wintry mix to Metro Vancouver. And we really saw that move in this evening. Highway 4 on the island, you saw some good snow, and higher elevations of Metro Vancouver also seeing that on and off wintry mix. I want to take you through the next couple of hours, and the purple is the snow. There is a chance we may actually pick up a couple centimeters of accumulation for higher elevations of Metro Vancouver, but that includes parts of the Tri-Cities, Burnaby, North Shore. We may end up getting a bit of a slippery start to Friday. As we head into Friday afternoon, I think we'll see things clear. A good chance of seeing the sun, a better shot if you're down towards the usual sunny suspects, Tsawwassen, Richmond, Surrey, Delta, before showers move back in on Saturday. So just a little window tomorrow afternoon where we're hoping to see the sunshine. Bigger picture, we are looking at several pulses of Pacific system moving in, moisture, I should say, moving in. This one bringing the snow to the interior. That next one, Friday, that gets down to us for Saturday, will bring snow back to the interior. Another pulse hot on the heels. They're following the jet stream path, which is taking them up to northern BC and then down across the province. That's the story until early next week. I know it's a long weekend, so wintry weather right across the province, light snow through the day and through Kelowna. Prince Rupert, showers, ramping up to steady rain as you get that next system moving in. Starting Monday night, we're going to change the weather story to that Arctic air mass. So hoping for some sunshine tomorrow afternoon. We've got a showery weekend, ramping up to heavier rain on Monday, and then we get into this cold but relatively clear air mass. And this is the kind of air mass where we may see some Arctic warnings or wind chill warnings issued for the South Coast. We'll have to keep an eye on that. And of course, Dan, keep our eye on the potential for snow. But next week, it's getting cold.
And we will bundle up. Thank you, Joe. Finally, a small-town BC baby has gone viral on TikTok for his work ethic. Take a look. There he is, 15-month-old Thomas Pelletier likes to stack water jugs at the family business, Caribou Water, in Quesnel.
I mean, I have 3 teenagers and just trying to get everyone motivated, and he's just doing his thing, and it's pretty awesome.
Mom Tamara Pelletier posted the video last Friday of her youngest helping out, as they should. The video has since gotten more than 34 million views on the TikTok. Canadian comic Howie Mandel saw it too.
People complain about child labor, and they think it's happening in other nations, but it's happening right here in America.
Canada, Howie. Mandel's tongue-in-cheek review of the video was a shock to Tamara, who at first wasn't sure if he was kidding. She wants to assure him that all the viewers that Thomas loves helping out. That's your late news for Thursday. Thank you for joining us tonight. For news anytime, check our website, cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. That starts tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. And Zara Premji will be your host here tomorrow night at 11. So happy Family Day. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next week.